I'm Bill Blackburn, Mayor of Kerrville. Once again, we come to you with a press conference about the response to the coronavirus and the illness that results from it. It is obvious people are tired of all the changes because of coronavirus, tired of businesses being closed, tired of schedules being disrupted, and kids not in the schools. I've heard anger, fear, panic, and impatience. And I think I've felt all those feelings. But I have to say, hang on a while longer. We have to have reasonable certainty of safety before opening everything up. If we don't, we could be right back in this mix of illness and fear. Even when we open things up, that does not mean this virus is defeated or gone. It will still be among us in this country and this county until a vaccine is developed and administered. Our defense will remain washing hands, social distancing, and avoiding crowds and larger groups. I have plenty of people telling me we need to open things up now. That is not my call. By the governor's orders, he has the authority to open things up, and his order overrides the directives of the cities in Texas. I've also been asked, did we really have to do all this to fight the virus and suffer the economic blow we have? The best minds around have said these defensive measures slow the spread and flatten the curve. And they point to towns and cities and countries that have shown the effectiveness of these measures and demonstrated that these are the ways to get ahead of this virus that travels on fast feet. Is it worth all this disruption and economic danger? Let me ask you this. Is it worth the life of that 27-year-old policeman, that mother of 4, or that senior adult with 9 grandchildren? Is it worth the life of that elementary school teacher or that nurse caring for a COVID-19 patient? There's a cost, but I believe it is a cost we must pay to get back to health and a safe environment. People are asking about businesses that are closed or only partially open. Business owners, through these tough weeks, one of the things I have heard over and over is people's concern for our local businesses. They want to see you back in business, and they want to support you to give you business. I've talked to bankers who are looking for ways to help you. I've heard Gil Salinas, that we'll hear from this morning, of the Kerr Economic Development Corporation, talk from this podium about his work to help people know what resources are available from the federal level and now state level, and more who want to help and to help your workers. I know you want to open back up, but people need to know when you do that it is safe to get out and to come into your shop, store, or restaurant. Finally, I was told years ago that in the DNA of Kerr County is don't tell me what to do, and especially if you're with the government. For several weeks, we have urged you to wash your hands, stay 6 feet away from others, and avoid being in groups of more than 10. Some of you have, some have not. The streets and open stores of Kerrville and Kerr County are busy and often crowded. Let's hope that none of those busy out in the town in this stay-at-home time have the coronavirus and are spreading that deadly virus to store clerks, fellow shoppers, or loved ones. At this time, I would like to call on the CEO of Peterson Health, Corey Edmondson, to share with us a word.
Thank you, Mayor. And first, I want to thank all these dedicated leaders and individuals that will speak to you today and have been working diligently for the citizens of Kerr County and really the surrounding Hill Country. they're doing what they need to do to keep our community safe, keep you safe, and I certainly appreciate their leadership. I'll talk to you a little bit about the recent cases in the last 48 hours here in Kerr County. We had 2 more cases show up positive. One was, you read a little bit about, maybe know some, but it was an individual that was working in Louisiana, which we know is a hot spot, was working there. Their residence is Kerr County. They were tested there, and the results came back positive, and he's at home, and he's recovering, and he's in isolation at home, and the state will be working with him on his recovery. The other known case that was confirmed yesterday was related to a contact. The person was in contact with a known positive COVID case. They were aware of that and were in self-isolation for a period of time based on CDC guidelines. Before they came out of isolation, they went to our Hill Country Youth Events Center to get tested and screened. They were tested, the results came back, and he was positive, and now is at home recovering. They are not in our hospital, and we hope that they don't come to our hospital. We hope they recover at home very easily. To date, as of today, we have tested a total of 242 people. We've screened much more than that, but based on the criteria for testing, that's what we've tested. We have 0 pending out of that. Generally, the hospital is continuing to monitor every staff member that works on that given day by taking their temperature. If anybody reaches that 100.4 temperature and above, then they are sent home and monitored. We also continue to give our staff PPE to protect them and the patients that they are treating. We continue to have restricted visitation in the hospital and limit that to only certain criteria. And we monitor the temperature of every visitor that comes into the hospital as well. And we're prepared for a surge. We continue to do that. And based on what we are hearing, the state is still at a peak, what they anticipate from modeling of April the 24th. We also know that rural healthcare and rural communities are typically 2 to 3 weeks behind urban and metropolitan areas. We at Peterson feel that our peak may be the first week of May. What we've experienced to date, we've doubled our positive cases in the last 48 hours. And that's something for us to think about, be concerned about, and be aware of. We certainly want to see what the next couple of weeks look like and the ramifications from the Easter weekend and what I'm going to call the fallout, which I hope there is not one. But people still gathered, people were with family and were around, and we hope that they took safe precautions accordingly. But we will find out what happens as a result of that over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're prepared for that. We hope that Kerr County continues to be low volume as far as positive cases, but if they are not, we are prepared. We ask you to be responsible to help Peterson Health and our healthcare workers who are working the front lines to keep any positive cases or there to be a surge by taking responsibility. We want you to know that, and want to reiterate what the mayor said. COVID-19 is here to stay until there is a vaccine. We all know that a vaccine will not be available for a year, maybe 18 months. So what do we do between now and then? We got to continue to be responsible, rational, and making good rational decisions. So we want to continue to encourage the social distancing, washing of the hands. Don't go out if you're sick. Certainly if you're coughing or sneezing, cover yourself with your elbow and don't let that spread in the air. And then eliminate any unnecessary travel. Limit that to essential travel. That being said, I just want to continue to encourage Kirk County as a whole, believe that they are prudent in the decisions that they make as a county. We want to protect everybody, and that is the hospital's report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, good. All right, thank you, Corey. Because I mentioned him, I'm going to go with Gil Salinas. And Gil, if you will bring us up to date on Kerr Economic Development Corporation, what you're doing in these days.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. At the Kerr Economic Development Corporation, we have issued a business impact survey where we've partnered with the Office of the Governor in conducting an inventory of what businesses are closed, which ones are being impacted. And this is being done to help us get a better handle on the economic impact, whether it's going to have more of a hiccup, very similar to what happened in 2008 in our area, as well as Texas, or if it's going to have a much longer lasting effect. I will say that we are doing better than the state and the national average, but that's not an indicator that we're out of this yet. And as you just heard from Corey, our peak might be coming up, and thereafter, what's going to happen. We were on a call with the Office of the Governor's Economic Development Division a couple of days ago, shortly after Governor Greg Abbott announced that they're making $50 million available in the state, and that's separate from where you're going to see, at the federal level, and that's being that's a partnership with the Goldman Sachs and Lit Fund. So we're starting to get information as to how that's going to be working. We were also on a virtual call with Commissioner Julian Alvarez and Texas Workforce Director Del Robertson. And if you recall, they had visited our community, spent a good amount of time in our community, meeting with the school district and some local companies and our leadership in February, shortly before the pandemic. They announced that they're going to be reallocating $10 million within Workforce Commission, specifically designated for retention of employees for local businesses and local industries. So that's very different from what they've done in the past. I'm glad that we have a relationship with them, as well as the Office of the Governor. That way we're on the front line as far as what's going to happen. And please keep in mind that we are ensuring that Kerrville has a voice, both in Austin, Texas and Washington, D.C., as some of these funds are being released, so we can make sure that we have our share of funding coming our way. Now, switching gears here to on the marketing side. Some of our marketing minds have come together. Those include, the KEDC, the CVB, Chamber, KBUP, and the city. And we've created a Kerrville Together initiative, which is basically an interagency collaboration of all of our tools, resources, and all of our marketing efforts. On the KerrvilleTogether.com website, we have a open for business mapping tool. So all of the businesses that are open, those that are not, what services are being provided with some of these businesses, that's on there, and that's for the general public. We also have a business resource toolkit on there for our local business and our local industry as well. So if you have questions about what programs are available, how can you apply for those, all that information is on there, and contact information is also available there as well. We last week we launched a webinar series, which was our first one, and that was for some of our community leadership as well as some of our business leaders. And that webinar was titled Planning for What Comes Next. And that one's going to be available on the site as well soon. We're planning, we're going to have another one next week, and that one's going to be also designated for our local businesses. And that one is Kerrville in a position to pivot. So again, that's going to be more about advice for our local businesses and what we have to do now moving forward. Then this one's pretty exciting. We just launched this particular initiative. It's going to be later today. It's a new medium of communication, and it's a podcast. So it's called Neighborly Wisdom, the Over the Fence podcast. So what we did, we took a page from Tim Allen and his 1990s home improvement show, where he would, talk to his neighbor from over the fence. Little did we know he was already practicing social distancing then. And what we're doing is we're profiling 3 to 4 businesses a month where they're giving advice and sharing some of their stories as we're going through this situation. And again, from a distance and across the fence. Today's podcast, which will be on that site as well. Teresa Metcalf from the KDC. She's going to be interviewing Clint Fiore, who's a local entrepreneur, very dynamic individual. If you do not know who he is or have not met him, I definitely urge you to tune in, because I'm very proud to say that he's one of our own, and he's doing some great things right now and really thinking outside the box when we really have to be doing that. So in closing, I would like to stress that communication and collaboration has become more vital in our recovery efforts of our local economy just in recent history. We will overcome. Kerrville's going to overcome. We just need to stay safe. We need to stay healthy, and wherever possible, buy in Kerrville. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gil. Next, I'm going to go to the county judge, Rob Kelly. Rob? I'm not hearing you.
There I am. I'm sorry.
There you are. Okay.
I'm an old dog, and Zoom is my new trick this year. So
yeah.
Good morning. Let me begin by talking to everybody out there. First thing I want to do is to thank all the people that are conscientiously observing social distancing and isolating themselves as much as they can, minimizing their person-to-person contact like the governor ordered us to do. I commend you and I thank you. Also want to apologize to those people that may have misunderstood me. And I know you're probably not familiar with the word misunderstood, but in West Texas, we make them up. And I want to be clear about what I'm saying. The county, nor the city for that matter, have ordered anybody to do anything. We've asked for people to voluntarily exercise and follow these CDC guidelines. That's all we're doing. And any perception that we're trying to make you do something, we're not. We understand. I'm a West Texan. I understand independence. And so I just want everybody to know that we appreciate the ones that are staying home. We also appreciate the ones that have to be out there performing these essential services. And what I'm asking you today is please, please be vigilant in exercising social distancing. We found that that is the one thing that really works with this. And it's especially important in the coming weeks. I agree with Corey Edmondson's assessment as to the peak in Kerr County. I think is still 2-3 weeks out. We're not quite there yet. And I know everyone's sick and tired of staying at home and the kids are getting on your nerves. I understand all of these things, but we really need to finish this race. We've got a few more weeks that we've got to do this, and hopefully we'll be past it. If not, we'll know. I want you to know that I'm really proud of the way Kerr County and Kerrville have handled this. I know we've doubled our cases, but they're very manageable cases. We're actually very low in terms of the counties in this area with our positive COVID cases. My concern is actually more from our neighboring counties who don't have hospitals, because if they have a blow up, they're going to fill up our hospital with their cases. And so it's even more important that those of us that are here take care of one another. And I would encourage everybody to keep asking those same questions that I encourage everybody to do. Before you leave home, whatever you're doing on the work site, ask yourself, number one, is it necessary? And if it is, please do it and do it well. Is it an essential service? If it's not an essential service, please don't do it. The third thing is to minimize. This is the governor's order, to minimize the person-to-person contact. Are you minimizing? Is this the minimum that you can do? Can you do more? Which gets to the next word that I like to emphasize, and that's isolate. Can you isolate yourself more? Can you self-isolate and get us through these next few weeks? And then finally, the last word that I shared with you is responsibility. And exercising personal responsibility, in my opinion, means whatever it is you're about to do, whether it's to go to the grocery store, a gas station, whether you're going to your job site, make sure that you've socially distanced from everybody, is what you're about to do going to result in keeping the most people possible safe. And so to the workmen, to their families, and to everybody from the young to the old, regardless of political persuasion, I am your county judge. and I'm pleading with you. Let's go shoulder to shoulder, well, 6 feet apart, shoulder to shoulder, and do this together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Judge. All right, I'm going to ask Mark Faust, Superintendent of Schools, KISD, and then Charlie McCormick, President of Shriner University, right after that. So, Mark?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. So KISD is in week 3 of virtual KISD. This week, we did send parents guidance on grading policies. We did formally go to, for elementary, a satisfactory needs improvement or unsatisfactory grading requirement. That shouldn't be too unfamiliar for our elementary parents. They see that with their specialist classes, their art, music, PE. For the secondary, we went to a pass-fail or incomplete, and that emphasis on that incomplete is we really don't want to see students fail specifically as a result of us having to transition quickly to virtual KISD. So we'll be aggressively pursuing our kids and trying to make sure we get some credit for them for those secondary classes, particularly at high school credit level. So that guidance for grading is posted on our website along with all the resources for virtual KISD. We are seeing that our teachers are working incredibly hard and doing amazing work for kids, and that our kids are responding and they're engaging in assignments. I saw my daughter with the textbook on her bed and working on a project at 9 p.m. last night on the computer, and that's just one example, but our students are responding. We have continued to see our grab and go meal program be successful. We're averaging about 1,300 meals a day at this point, so we've had peaks and valleys there. At the end of last week, we had over 21,000 meals, so we believe that we're north of 25,000 meals served this week, and that will continue for the duration of this virtual KISD and our school closure. We had our seniors yesterday at Tybee High School drive through the front circle drive and very safely get their caps and gowns. We don't have any specific information to offer about graduation for our class of 2020. We will have a graduation ceremony. We just can't tell you when, where, what it looks like just yet. But we're continuing to work on all of our options there pretty much on a daily basis. We're working on that. And we'll just close by saying it's our hope that our community continues to stay safe. We will follow CDC's guidance, and we'll continue to follow Texas Department of State Health Services guidance as we move forward throughout this issue. Virtual KISD is not easy. It is a real challenge for our teachers and for our families. We recognize that. And so, as I've said on each of these calls, there's no substitute for face-to-face instruction. We're doing the best we can. And so we'll continue to ask for patience and grace on behalf of our teachers, on behalf of our parents and students, as we work together to do the best we can to close those educational gaps that are created when we are not in school. Thank you for the support. We really are grateful for it.
Thank you, Dr. Faust. And now to Dr. McCormick, President of Shriner University.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shriner University continues to help mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in the counties where we have campuses, Kerr, Cameron, and El Paso, by continuing to provide virtual instruction and a wide range of virtual support services for the remainder of the spring 2020 semester. Only essential personnel are now operating on campus, and all departments whose function is independent of physical location, they are required to work from home. Our priority since the beginning of this crisis has always been the health, safety, and well-being of our students and employees, as well as that of our communities. And our second priority has been to ensure that Shriner University continues to provide a premier education to our students. But today, let me just briefly share with you some of the ways in which Shriner's fighting back against COVID-19, both literally and symbolically. Shriner University's technology team has joined researchers from across the globe in fighting COVID-19 by lending available computer processor cycles from its main server cluster to the Folding at Home project. And this is a project focused on disease research that crowdsources computer power to simulate protein folds. The Folding at Home software allows anyone to share their unused computer power with the project, labs, and researchers that are involved with finding a cure for COVID-19. And this combined effort has allowed the project to be more powerful than the world's top 7 supercomputers combined. and Shriner University is providing computer cycles that would normally be supporting students, faculty, and staff who would typically be on campus this time of year. We're also fighting back by celebrating our students' accomplishments. Today, we're launching our 9th annual Student Achievement Showcase in conjunction with our 21st annual Popular Culture Symposium. The event started at 9 a.m. this morning, and although we're not able to congregate in person this year, Shriner University is presenting the showcase virtually. You can actually find a link to the showcase if you go to our homepage at shriner.edu and click the resources for Shriner's virtual spring semester link. We're recording these presentations too, and we'll include that link in the same location once we get these uploaded. I encourage you, if you have some time, to spend a few minutes looking at our students' original research, scholarship, and creative projects. Finally, and in an effort to reduce the disruption of college planning and preparation of many incoming freshmen for fall 2020, Shriner has temporarily suspended using SAT and ACT test scores as criteria for admission decisions for first-time freshmen for the fall of 2020. Our temporary admissions criteria applies to first-time freshmen who have not yet taken either test for fall 2020, and it goes into effect immediately. And we see our students more broadly than just test scores and GPA, and the suspension of these standardized tests gives us the opportunity to look at things like involvement and engagement and find students who are exactly the right fit for Shriner and for whom Shriner is exactly the right match for them too. And as always, we look forward to seeing you back on campus after this crisis passes for a book discussion, a lecture, an athletic event, a performance, or just a walk around campus. All of us at Shriner look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Dr. McCormick, where would people see the student accomplishment?
If you go to Shriner's homepage, you'll see a link right at the top of the page that says resources for Shriner's virtual spring semester link. And if you click into there, you'll see how to connect to that. It'll be the top button.
Okay, one other question. Generally, how many of your students are first-time college students, in the sense first in their family?
We have about a third of our students who are first-generation college students.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you. Tomorrow, there will be a press conference by the governor of Texas outlining apparently a whole series of things, some of which is economic, but maybe some kind of timetable that he's proposing. But anyway, that will be sometime tomorrow. We don't know when. Apparently tomorrow afternoon. So finally, I would say, be safe out there for yourself and for others. Thank you.